Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, GeoSun, Podchaser, Rumble Tiki Live, and more. I'm Dr. Marissa, your hashtag positively opinionated host, and I am here with a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk at all, and actually, I guess Kanye or whatever he's calling himself these days. We don't talk about that because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have guests like Layla Ali yesterday. What another round 2 of a knockout interview. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did miss it, go to my YouTube channel that houses all of my past 830 shows. This 552nd consecutive week on the air. And I also bring you series that will make you laugh, smile, learn, love, stretch your ability to be the change and also to be real and be straight. And today I am delighted. This is one of my popular series every Thursday morning at bright, lucky number 8 a.m. He's my co-host with the most. Welcome back to the studio, Sam Works. Hey, darling.
Hey, darling. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. You ready to have breakfast with me?
Yes, I'm ready to have breakfast. I'm starting.
All right. Yes. We're going to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Those of you know the drill. We already have a comment out here. Oh, they're not good comments. It's a what do you call those? Crashers, block user. Okay. Even though we do talk on Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works about romance, a little bit of flirting, a little bit of all that stuff, we don't want showgirl advertisements put up on the screen. But I would love to have your eyeball in the studio that you can comment and ask questions and interact with us. It would be wonderful. So go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe, or LinkedIn or Facebook. I am grateful, top of the bun, this morning for the incredible guests that I do have on my show. Layla Ali, of course, the last huge name. And then next week I get Mark and Brian. So there's Mark from Mark and Brian. You'll remember them. 27 years on the air, inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. Mark from Mark and Brian. That's 2 gratitudes. Your turn. You get 2.
That's 2 gratitudes back to back, just like that.
Yeah. I know. I broke my rule.
I am very grateful for alarm clocks because it helps me really set my time in life. And I'm also grateful for every day that I've lived. It's been a blessing every day, even the bad days, even the 12% of the time.
Now you know why he's my co-host. That's 2. I'm grateful that we both got haircuts. We did not plan that. I did not get the memo. Very nice. Wow, you can really, your eyes pop out more and your chin. That's so funny.
I also shave too.
Oh, you shave? That's another thing. Okay, let's do that. So that our heads are the same size. There we go. We both
we look good. Okay.
You like my gold balls?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
they're awesome.
I had blue balls on the other day.
See, that's
Uh, your gratitude, your third one.
my third gratitude is I'm very thankful for the holidays because it brings my family together.
I am grateful for God, everything. I got to be specific. The pool in the morning that continues to help me in this project, Love My Body 2.0. I am now down 31 pounds and I believe 33 all time, but 31 since February. So,
Nice, congratulations.
Valentine's. Thank you.
So
People are definitely, huh?
you lost
Pardon?
the Thanksgiving
Yes,
weight.
I lost the turkey off my thighs. Turkey
Nice,
thighs
nice.
off my thighs. And
Uh,
last gratitude.
um, I am grateful for hot showers. Believe it or
Mm,
not, if your hot shower does not work, you really start to miss it.
for sure, for sure. And now let's go to the bottom of the bun. Thank you for tuning in. This is Straight Talk with Sam Works and Dr. Marissa. If you'd like to talk about relationship closure today, that is the topic. So stay tuned and feel free to comment. I see the eyeballs rolling in. 8 specific things you appreciate about yourself is the bottom of our breakfast sandwich. I appreciate that I am quick.
Oh, okay. I appreciate about myself that I get on my butt a lot because I want to progress in life, and I always try to read every day. That's something I appreciate. So,
What are you reading right now?
so there's 3 books I'm reading. It
Oh,
just
Richard.
depends.
Right.
One's like about negotiation, the other one's like the power of now, and then the other one
That's the one
is
I told you to read, right?
yes,
Good.
and
Isn't
then
that
the other.
awesome?
It is a pretty good book. I like it. I'm almost finished with it. And
Good.
then my last book is 10 Years Incarcerated, Non-Negotiable Lifestyle with Wes Watson. So,
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
mm.
I appreciate that I have learned to give myself a break and not go so nuts recovering overachiever.
Dr. Marissa, I was there. That was my next
Really?
one.
You're
Yes.
reading my mind. Do 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 do. Uh-oh, we're becoming one person.
Yeah.
Merge into the frame. No.
Wait, wrong one.
Oh, wait, this way, this way. Okay, I
um,
can tell it's going to be that kind of a morning.
I'm gonna have to steal that appreciation because this past week I've slowed down a lot on things in life because I realized that I'm just running too fast. And they say the brightest stars burn out the fastest. So I'm trying to relax a little bit. I'm trying to breathe.
Good. I take time to smell the roses, play mahjong, play with dogs and kids. That's the rounded balance in my life.
Mm.
I appreciate, well, that's it, that I balanced.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate that. I acknowledge the things I need to adjust in life so I don't drive myself crazy.
And that is it. Thank you for having breakfast with us. We do this pretty much every show, and even when Sam's not here. So if you'd like to feel better about your days, I promise if you do this 30 consecutive days, you and have gratitudes in the morning and what you appreciate about yourself at night before you go to bed, you'll get a better night's sleep and you'll sandwich your day so that you can start in the most positive way and continue. And that's my money back guarantee without money. All right, let's go, Sam. You want to talk about
Closure.
another C word, not commitment, but closure. And give me a little bit of framework for that.
There's a lot of people that leave relationships unsaid and without any closure. And just like movies, they leave little cliffhangers in life, right? But what does that do? That keeps you thinking. That keeps thoughts in your head. that makes your mind either overthink or underthink about the past, right? Which you really shouldn't be focusing on. You should be focusing about the present and sometimes the future. But if your future is still involving the past, then there's a problem, right? I would say.
Right.
So the question of the day is closure necessary?
Okay. And by closure, you mean does someone have to slam a door in your face and close it? Or I put in the promo. I thought I was being very clever yesterday with that, with the wording there. I was actually, let's see, live. See if I can find. Oh, here we go. So, do you perform autopsies on your relationships? Do you have to have closure when a relationship is over? Do you ghost as a breakup strategy? I had to explain that to my dad. He just turned 93. What's ghost? I think my kids actually define that one for me. Do you hate people who do ghost? And or do you say it's not you, it's me? So let's go through the different experiences, as I like to do, to make this real, on how I've been broken up and whatever you feel led to share when I've been broken up with or broke up with people. And I'll say that my habit pre-marriage was if I felt like someone was going to break up with me, then I would break up with them first, because rejection is like not one of my favorite to be on the receiving end of that. So I broke up with a lot of people, and I'm not proud of this, but my most common way of breaking up, because I'm conflict avoidant as a rule, not anymore, obviously, but in my prior life, I would hate actually confronting people. It's kind of ironic because I actually teach. I used to teach grad school at Boston University and UCLA in the business school, and one of my courses was conflict management. so that's why the name of my show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. And I would just stop answering calls. We didn't have text in those days because I'm ageless. I would just, drop them literally from
You would
communication.
ghost them.
Yes, that is ghosting for anybody else who's ageless. And even post happily divorced, I haven't dated. Well, I had one date we talked about last week in like 5 years, 4 weeks, 3 months, 2 weeks, and a day. But who's counting? But even then, I will text and say, I don't think this is working. I would, if I felt strong enough or courageous enough, I would actually do it over the phone. But most of the time I like to text, which is a horrible way to break up. I admit it. But how many ways can you say it's just not working, right? I will use it's not you, it's me, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? But the good news is I finally got to the point where I believe, for me, the best way to break up is to say, we're just not a match anymore. And that takes it off of my plate and their plate. And I do believe this. This is not an excuse. I really do believe that, people will match for a certain amount of time in my book of romance. And then once the chapter's over, we're moving in different directions. We find some things that really we needed to jive on and we don't. So we're just not a match anymore. And that is the way that I prefer to break up if I actually get in a relationship again. What do you do?
it's smart to do things over text because you can really make sure you say the right words, right? Because in the moment you kind of just, let it all out. However, the last handful of girls I've, been with, it was in person. And sometimes sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't.
Did you do it in a restaurant? They say to
No.
do it in a public place so that,
So
people are not gonna.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. My last one, it was at her house, and she was like, "If that's how you feel, just grab your stuff and get out." I was like, "Fair enough." So I, put on my pants. I grabbed everything. I gave back her key, and she closed the door on me and locked me out. And I forgot some stuff, but
Oh no.
I felt like I was, you know. But
Well, I mean, on the other hand, okay, so two things. It's interesting how you said text is preferred because the normal thing is to say, oh, that's a horrible way to break up with someone. But you're right. It does allow for time to be thought before something comes out of your mouth, and you cannot unring a bell with what you say. So I like that. That's my good new excuse for texting a breakup.
yeah.
No,
But for me,
no,
it's kind
yeah.
of, in my personal experience, it's a little like coward-ish, you know what I mean? Because you're not in person, you're not saying it face to face. So it's like, if you really mean it, say it to my face type stuff. And yes, and the worst thing is it's always like during Valentine's. It's not because of Valentine's, it's just, due to timeline, it just ends up happening like that. And so I
Why?
always
Because
say
you don't want to buy or anything?
no, and you know what's crazy? Every time I already bought them stuff. So it's like I already got you all these things, but then like I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe they didn't
Hmm.
like the I got them or something. But it's
Well,
actually
go
it's,
ahead.
it's typically me that ends the relationship. Just because I get into myself a little too much. Again, like we talked about before in the previous episodes, like I'm very selfless, and so like I give myself too much to them, and then like over time I'm like I need to get back on track in my life. um
Yeah, and we've talked about how it's not really their fault. It's
yeah,
because you allowed yourself to be overly consumed and unbalanced around the relationship.
yeah.
Just siding with the girls for a second.
Hmm.
Which you're working on, and my always solution around that is balance, but also enjoy the butterflies. I mean, at that time, it's a one of a kind feeling, that beginning, but then don't hang your hat on all the promises made during that time, because you really, don't know the person enough to be saying the stuff that we do. It's always amusing to me. I've done it myself. Oh, we talked till 4 a.m. and it felt like I've known him my whole life, and they would
Yeah.
love me forever, and they've never felt like this before. A little bit of jadedness there, but no, but it's true. And my pregnancy model of relationships, that first trimester is awesome. and
Right.
and I also see it as the glue that will propel you into the next two trimesters, because if you don't feel that good and ooey gooey in the first trimester, it's going to be tough to make to navigate the second trimester, when you really actually get to know the full person, good, bad, and not so beautiful. But yeah, but so if you just tuned in and you're wondering who's in my studio, he got a haircut. That's why he doesn't look exactly the same as he does normally. His name's Sam Works. He is my co-host for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. You are listening to the show. That is thanks to you. Number one in the IE at 8 a.m. called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. And we're talking about closure and relationships. Break up to make up. And I don't know the rest of the song, but it is a great topic because I think that people don't break up well. Sorry, not that it's good or bad, but a lot of my relationship clients are spending inordinate amounts of time in their head because they don't have closure. They don't know, well, was it, something I said? Am I not lovable enough? Am I not good enough? What did I do wrong? And the people that have those kinds of thoughts are the ones that I think, therefore I'm screwed, because they're always thinking and they're analyzing and autopsy and dissecting. And it's a huge drain on life when you're always, I call it MSU University. You are making shiitake up, right? That's graduate school. So when you don't know if someone does ghost you, all of those, what ifs and what's going on and questions, if you are have a tendency to bring it on yourself, I call it the labyrinth of shiitake, that stinking thinking, worst case scenario, and then the effinator. So if you're one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, it most likely you will interpret a ghosting or you will interpret a breakup as you've done something wrong. And the reality is it takes 2 to make up and 2 to break up. So there are things on both ends that you're just not a match. So if you take breakups so badly that you're debilitated, I would ask you to do some work on loving yourself, because it has this much to do with you and this much to do with the relationship that either is working or not working. And that's my soapbox.
Yeah, I definitely agree to work on loving yourself, because at the end of the day, whether a relationship's great or not, when you get old or
Who
older,
are you calling old?
you know.
A little sensitive this morning, I am. Sorry, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But when people move on in life, or when they die off, sad to say, and you're by yourself, if you never loved yourself, you're gonna be living in the world of hell. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that you would love or even care for. But if you love yourself, you can keep moving forward until the time comes. I think it's very important. But with closure, with me, I had not even my most previous ex, but like during the pandemic, I was dating someone, and she was like my best friend, and we're dating type stuff. And like, she still comes in my head every once in a while, And like, that's what drives me crazy, because for me, I feel like I don't have closure. And I feel like not having closure is like rust. If you still have it, it's just going to eat you up inside more and more, and until you get rid of that, then it's just going to mess up your life, because you're not focused in life, because you're focused on the past, and it was a tough one. It's still pretty tough.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on my couch then. Don't worry, I'm not going to jump on you. I'm going to put you on my proverbial couch. You're my client. We're doing relationship coaching or happiness coaching. And tell me what happened in the last, in that last encounter that you had that is leading to this sense of non-closure. Not non-disclosure, non-closure. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Well, here's the thing. Like, even after we broke up, we were still hanging out. We were still friends, right? And then
Friends with benefits?
no,
Okay.
no,
Just friends. Yes.
yeah, friends. And then I started dating someone, right?
Uh-huh.
And she barged into my house when I was sleeping, and she was like, "What the heck? Da 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 da! Like, how can you be dating someone else? Like, boom, boom, boom." She was like waiting for me, right?
Ah.
And she was like,
Was the
"What?
other girl in bed with you?
No, 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 no."
Oh, okay. Whew.
But
All
she
right.
was like, she asked me, she's like, "What does she have that I don't have that I can't give you?" Right? And I said,
Mm.
"A fresh start," because in that relationship I had with her, I've I've messed it up. I'm not gonna lie. Like with her family, with her parents, like brother, sister, like I was just like I was immature and I started doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing.
Ah.
And it was a bad reflection on me, right?
Mm.
And I was like,
Did
even
you
though
tell her that way? Because if you just say a fresh start, it makes it sound like she's stale.
no,
Yeah.
I explained everything to her
Okay.
until she said
Okay.
that. And then the last conclusion was like I want a fresh start. But in reality, you know, I believe that she was my first love. And the one of the reasons why, like, I couldn't give her a reason why I was dating this other chick. Okay.
Mm.
But the reason why I chose to date this other person was to see if I can have those feelings with somebody else, if I can like have the love feeling with someone else. And if not, then in my experience, my eyes, then she's the one. Right.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't explain that to her. I couldn't be like, I just want to see if I can fall in love with someone else,
Oh,
you
that
know?
doesn't. Okay. Yeah.
And
It, did she like stab you at that point?
well, I didn't say that because
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
I didn't want to
All
explain
right.
that to her because I knew
Right.
like
Right.
she would probably stab me.
Yeah. 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 Good. Good. Good choice.
So I just said I want a fresh start. That was my only excuse. And then, you know, I dated her for a little bit. We broke up. And after that, you know, I hit her back up and I was like, "Hey, can we go like on a hike and like, you know, just walk, talk, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
She was all for it. But she never brought up anything. She just pretended nothing ever happened. But it was killing me inside and like I wanted to talk about it, but she
Mm-hmm.
acted like nothing happened. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh," you know what I mean?
Did you want to get back with her?
Um, but the thing is, like, I'm not, even if I wanted to, like, I'm not ready. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still in my progression phase. I'm still learning. I'm still, you know, doing things like that. And it's like, at that time, yeah, of course. But wasn't the right time, you know? So I was like, I'm just gonna let her go and let her live her life. I don't want her to wait on me. I don't want anyone to wait on me. You know, I don't think that's right. Um, But then, you know, every once in a while, I'll get like flashbacks or like I think of her every now and then, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't have that closure with her.
Mm.
You know?
Closure, as in she didn't want to talk through what happened.
Closure and telling her like the real reason why I dated someone else or the real reason why like I'm like don't want to date you. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
And it's
mhm.
nothing about her. It's all about me, I feel like, you know, and that goes back to your little segment. It's not you, it's me. You know. But then it's like I reflect back on like why I broke up with her in the first place. And that kind of keeps me sane because it's like, okay, like the relationship wasn't perfect, which no relationship is perfect, but there's a reason why I broke up with her, you know, and I got to remind myself about that. And,
Mhm.
you know, and there's other people that I talk to and like that I date that I find that I wish that she had, but she doesn't have. And I'm just like, there's other women out there that I appreciate more because those are the things that I want someone to have
Mhm,
for me, you
mhm,
know?
mhm,
But
mhm.
then it just always goes back to like my first love, you know, type stuff. So,
Right, right. So, the buck stops right over here,
mm,
right? And so, as your coach, unpaid, by the way, I would say that um, you would spend a little time with yourself and write it out and a letter to yourself, giving yourself a little bit of a break and saying, you know, every relationship, and I tell this to my daughters, is either someone that you're going to be with for a while, right? Not necessarily forever. I don't like that till death do us part. That's so morbid and people change, but you're either going to be with that person for a long chapter in your book of romance, and or you're going to learn a lot from that relationship. So, what have I learned from this relationship? Right? The one, I have the ability to care about someone and it feels like love and it's a wonderful feeling. Two, I can do stupid things when I'm in that state. And I'm embarrassed by them,
Mm.
and I, have to forgive myself because that was just what I did. Everybody does the best that they can in the time that they have and the resources they have, and at that time that was the best you could do. So you can forgive yourself on that. I have learned a lot of what I do want in a relationship from her, and I can actually write a letter to her that I don't have to send, but that would be a definitely a recommendation that I would, just because she didn't bring it up doesn't mean that you can't bring it up, with the understanding, I'm guessing the reason why you don't want to do this is you don't want her to think that you want to get back together, because in the whole reality of things, you do know that it was a very special relationship for the first love. But in dating others, every time you date someone, you know what you do want and you know what you don't want.
Right.
And the problem with most people when they're dating is they focus on the things they don't like instead of saying, this is what I like. And thank you for teaching me that's what I like, right?
Mhm.
Because it's missing in this relationship, but I know that that's important. And that's direct from Abraham Hicks' Law of Attraction teaching. So you can write and say, I want to thank you for all of the things that I've learned about what I do want in a relationship. And I will never forget that. And will always hold a special place in my heart. I am sorry for the stupid things that I did. And hopefully you can forgive me for that. And at the same time, I realize that I still need some time to sift and sort through dating so that I am clearer on what it is that I'm looking for a long-term relationship that may or may not be you. But at this point in time, I wanted to just clear the air, and I owed you an explanation of why I was dating the other girl. And to the best of my knowledge right now, it's because I'm still going through that sifting and sorting. I knew that our relationship was really amazing most of the time, but there were still some real things that I knew I had to discover more about myself and what I'm looking for in a relationship. So you have this on tape. You can transcribe, but I would think that that would help you bring some closure too, because I
Yeah.
think some of your non-closure is feeling badly about the way things went down,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that she didn't want to talk about it, I think is a healthy reflection of her ability to love herself, because she didn't want to open that door again, because naturally she was hurt. When you guys started the first time after the breakup getting together as friends, it would be very logical for her to think, oh, we're going back on that, right? And instead she got a nice slap in the face. It reminds me of my I think I told you about my very first time when that was a giant slap, because I thought I was going out with a guy because we had had my first sexual experience. This is in college in my math class. And to find out that he was asking out a redhead after we had done the deed. And I grew up so strict in my fundamental Baptist that I justified, having that sloppy, horrible, alcohol Christmas sex for the first time, that I thought I was going to marry him. And then did I tell you that story?
No, you didn't. It's
Oh
interesting.
man. So I can't believe I'm talking about this on the air. Well, I can, but anyways, McMaster University math class. His name was Roger. He had curly hair. I was smitten. He invited me to a Christmas party. It was my first time. It was horrible, but with all that religious upbringing, I thought, okay, we're dating and we're going to get married. In my juvenile, non-sophisticated understanding of what, relationships and sex was. So then we were in class we had done the deed a couple more times, and we were in class, and then I left the class and his best friend was outside, and I started talking and said, "Where's Roger?" And he said, "Oh, he's inside hitting on the redhead that was sitting in front of us." And I was heartbroken. And I finally got the courage to ask him, "What's going on? I thought we were dating. I thought we were in a relationship." And he looked at me and said, "Haven't you ever heard of casual sex?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Welcome to college."
No way.
That was my first time.
Welcome to college.
So, needless to say, my relationship with sex did not have a good launch pad or launch bed. And I still think that that's one of the reasons why, and it's all tied into the body dysmorphia. I'm not good enough. I'm not attractive enough. Fat, ugly, and clumsy. A marriage where my husband introduced me as obese to other people. And y'all are like, "Oh my God, are you still hurting from that? Are you still not healed from that?" And I will say to you, healing is not like this, right? For anybody, healing is not a straight line up. It is a circular thing. There is a little upward tilt, right? But that doesn't mean that there are, where I was a Valentine's, when I was disgusted with my body and I knew that I could never do the down and dirty feeling, looking like I did, which did propel me to try to be on this Love My Body 2.0. But do I still have moments where I am very insecure about my attractability? Absolutely. Do I feel comfortable, 100% comfortable doing the deed or having a full relationship with intimate actions like sex? Am I healthy that way? Honestly, I'm close to 80%, but certainly not 80%. It's that one area that still is my, learning ground in life. And I'm okay with that. I'm not, I don't think about it all the time. It certainly is easier to not think about it when you're not dating.
Yeah.
When you don't have a relationship. So now you got a little more insight on why I have set my life up so well where a relationship doesn't fit in it.
Yeah.
I got
why go through all the pain,
vulnerable
right?
today, huh? What was that?
I said, why go through all the pain and stuff like that? Well,
Yeah. But I do recognize that it is an area that I, it may happen, it may not happen. Now, what's interesting is, were you doing the sound engineering when I had my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith on the show, or was it Polly?
it was Polly.
You missed the big interviews this month. So Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, where I get my positive roots watered and my peace of mind fertilized. He's a huge Oprah 100 lister. He's brilliant. He is loving. He's one of the most loving people I know. He did a prediction for me this year because he always comes on to congratulate, when I reach major milestones in the show. And he said that this is going to be my year of, a big love. So I thought that was really interesting.
Does he usually do predictions for you?
That's a good question. When I first met him 13 and a half years ago, it's a long story. I don't want to go into it, but he's always been the one where he has seen the show, he's seen the book, he's seen the accolades, he's seen the awards that I've gotten even before I could see them. He's got this little thing that he does where he looks into you. So yes, probably a couple years in, he asked if he could look into me, and I'm like, what the heck is that? But there's a great photo. I'm going to try to find it, where he's looking into me, and he saw this planet that had a big chunk missing, and he saw what was coming was way bigger than what was missing, which was such a great analogy to my life and what has happened to me and what is happening to me now. So that was the first big prediction before I have a #1 show, a #1 book, all these, Asian Entrepreneur of the Year, all these 12 big awards that I've gotten. He predicted those. So anytime I say, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened, he'll be like, yeah, I will. I told you. But he's never predicted about love. So we'll see.
I don't know. Lowe's is a pretty big one.
Yeah. So going back to my relationship coaching with you, before I went on that tangent about me sharing that on purpose with you. One, I did that because I was giving you a perspective of your friend who you fell in love with, who did not want to talk about things, that when anyone goes through rejection of any kind, even if it's lovingly done or heartfelt, it's a natural, horrible feeling to know that someone didn't choose you and that you chose someone else, regardless of what you're doing, is a very painful feeling. So if you've gone through a breakup, I know a lot of people, including myself, who just push that stuff down and we don't deal with that feeling. And it ends up being like rust or an infection, and it grows and it consumes you. So if you've gone through a rejection and not had closure, the first thing I want you to do is just love yourself and be your own best friend and say things like, it just wasn't a match and it wasn't as personal as you're feeling. Sure, it's a little personal because someone said they didn't want to be with you, but who knows? Rejection sometimes is God's protection. You may think you have wanted that person, but you just don't know the heartache that may have happened down the line, having children with them or whatever. So being and learning how to be your best coach is my recommendation for you. And when your head starts going to, why didn't she say it? Or I'm embarrassed about, or maybe she's the one, is to stop and say, okay, I think, therefore I'm screwed. Any more of this thinking is going to take away from my energy for the things that I am working on. I'm giving myself closure. I am giving myself the gift of closure. I don't, if I did have a conversation with her at this point, I think it would be less helpful to her, because you're going to reopen that wound with her, than it is what you think is satisfying for you. So I'm going to love myself first and talk myself through loving myself enough to forgive myself for the stupid and to also stop going there that just wastes my time and I can't get that time back. And then I'm going to love her enough not to one more time open a door that right now I don't think I can, really commit the way she wants, and love her from that point. And that's my coaching to you.
Give me 1 second here.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you're smiling. I can see the relief in your face, which is great. That's the kind of response and application, because I think you really heard me.
Mm-hmm.
So those, now you can ground that, and anytime that voice starts up again, it's like, darling, you're wasting my time. We already dealt with this, and this is work that, this is why I love what I do, is that you're not alone. So many people are just spinning their wheels because of regret and thinking about things that could not get resolved. And it's totally a waste of time. It's a waste of the past is past. The future, the past is history. The future is a mystery. The present is a gift. So open it. So you can't open your present if you're still locked in your past. And the saddest clients that I've had are men, many men, more so than women, who come at midlife, I call it opportunity instead of midlife crisis, who are honest about the travesty called their relationships, dating, marriages, engagements, and they hook it on one relationship, their first, that they still have regret and or no closure around. And it's I have to work up to the tough love, but when I get to that point, is you have a decision to make, sir. If you want to spend, you've already spent 50 years of your life messing up all potentially wonderful relationships because you're hanging on to the non-disclosure of your first love. Do you want to do that for the rest of your 50 years on life if you live to be 100? Or do you want today to say, that was a chapter in the past and I learned a lot from it, and I can move forward knowing what I don't like, knowing what I like, and giving people who really want to love me the opportunity to do that without, going back to that first and having all the thoughts in and having this going on, which is so common when you're stuck with non-closure. So I don't want you to be that guy. I got you early. I got you at 23 instead of 53. And hopefully that little treatment worked.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little better. And for all those listeners listening, it was my topic today.
Yeah. Yeah, but it turned out to be my or self-disclosure, a pro self-disclosure. But I'm glad, because I think I don't know who takes rejection or non-closure worse, men or women. I think both. It's, the way you deal with it might be different, right? So
I mean, a lot of guys, like, typically, how do they deal with emotions? They kind of just hold it in, right? That saying, like, hey, men don't cry, whatever. So it's like, but girls, they really put it out there on how they feel and their emotions and stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, let me do a caveat on that. In your generation, that is true. I mean, most young women, including my daughters, have no difficulty at all expressing their emotions. But that was not true in my ageless generation. All the ones before y'all, I would say from the baby boomers all the way to the millennials, that whole generation, there's like 3 generations there. That's not true of. And that's why I started talking about this stuff on the air. It was a series called Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa every last day of every last week of the month. I was only on once a week then.
Yeah, I got a phone call.
Because I wanted to be able to talk about the moose on the table, about the elephant in the room that nobody was talking about. Women in those generations who had this underlying BS belief system that their job was to please a man and had very little idea on how to please themselves, were not comfortable in their body, were not comfortable talking about not being comfortable about pleasure and how to pleasure and asking for pleasure. So that's exactly why I actually started that special series. It was for us who could not express. So I'm very proud of the young women now who don't have an issue at all saying, this is what I like. That's a huge balancing of the swing of the pendulum. Maybe overdoing it, because that's what happens in every, pendulum. You kind of got to overshoot before you come to the middle. But yeah. So I'm encouraging any woman who knows what I'm talking about, who is reticent about asking for what they want and what they need and how they feel, to do so. And, stretch the guy you're with to meet you there.
Nice. Maybe we can continue this next week, but I heard an echo. They say that if you date too many people, that becomes a problem. And because you figure out what you do like and what you don't like, but no one is going to be perfect in the sense of they have everything you do like,
Good topic. We are going to have a special guest next week, though. Sam mentioned that he laughs and I laugh every time we hear Clyde Terry on my 8-year summary of the show that I put on while the NBC News is playing. And he's the one that says, well, if you're going to wait for sex, I'm going to go somewhere where I am going to get it. And the first time Sam heard that, he's like, what? So I reached out to him. He's going to come on next Thursday to defend himself. No, I'm just kidding. But it'll be an interesting sandwich. I will have an older generation man and a younger generation man, and I'll be in the middle. And we'll be talking about all kinds of things, including, how much, what percentage of a person that you're with should be something that you want. It's not possible for 100, but where is that number? Final word, Sam.
88. That's my
number. Good number. But
final word is, love yourself before you love others, right? And have that self-closure, because you don't want to open a can of worms. And it may be good for you, but it probably won't be good for them. So
you got the coaching right on. This is Dr. Marissa. So I just love my life. I love this show. Reminding you that it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. You've been listening to Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works
on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early at 8. Have the best day ever.